Yeah, thank you to Anne and also to Job for doing the presentation. I'm going to go through projects now, and you can see I'm going to touch on root servers, but Job's covered an awful lot of that already for us. So I just wanted to follow up from Anne. There's a lot of maintenance work that goes on, and obviously the team, especially with the management network, I'm sure it's the same at many of your companies. The work is intrusive when we have to pull out cables and replace old hardware. So the team are working hard, and fortunately the root collectors weren't such a big issue, but we do try obviously very hard to make sure we minimize any disruption. So I want to talk through 400 gig. I'm going to touch on the Equinix Slough expansion. I've got a couple of slides on Manchester because we're back up here, as Curtis said. It's been a good few years since we've been up here, so I just wanted to show a little bit about what we're doing, which also ties in with the expansion that we're doing to the new Equinix build at MA5. We've got a few things going on with proof of concept work I'll touch on. I presented at the last meeting about our investigation into using more cloud compute, public cloud type services to support our internal operational support systems. And I'm going to then touch on the root servers and the IX API work that we're doing. So on 400 gig, you saw from Curtis' slide, we went live in November. We still only got the one member that's connected at 400 gig. I recently did a GPF event and a RIPE event, and speaking with members that would potentially move from 100 gig to 400 gig, the general feedback is around supply chain issues and availability of equipment. So I think it is coming. We will see some more conversions over the coming year, from end times 100 to 400 gig. But obviously we haven't quite seen the uptick that we expected at the beginning of the year. But the kit is available, so if you are looking, please do come and speak to us. If you've got upgrade plans to 400 gig, we've got deployments at Harbour Exchange, and Telehouse Campus, which obviously the Telehouse Campus, that takes into account all of the sites that we're on with Telehouse. We can expand to other sites. We have some kit available that we can expand, but obviously we're keeping hold of that until we know where the demand is. In conjunction with that and running in parallel, we're doing this redesign of Slough, and we're also testing some of the Juniper MX kit. So we've got a proof of concept around the new LC9600 card, which gives us the ability to deploy 400 gig on the Juniper devices as well. So hopefully that's happening now. We're just about to kick off the proof of concept. So certainly over the next 6 months, anybody that needs 400 gig across London 1, we should be able to meet the demand with that. On Slough itself, this was a project that we identified late last year. Slough, which covers all of the Equinix. This is the Equinix sites down in Slough. So we cover all. I think there's 4 points of presence. We're actually in their facilities down there. We identified the fact we're running out of capacity. We put a plan in to upgrade that site. This isn't just to get us through the rest of the year, but this is to get us through the next 2 or 3 years. So that means reevaluating our transmission connectivity, so the interswitch links that run down there over dark fiber. It also means that we're going to have to renegotiate some of our space and obviously the cost that goes in with that. And we also want to be adding 400 gig capability, and that could be on Nokia, that might be on Juniper. That's really going to be down to proof of concept and cost dynamics that come out of that. So we're working through the design. So Mariano and Mark from the engineering team are working through the design. We expect to sign that design off in Q2, providing the proof of concept goes ahead okay. Then we'll move to ordering kit at the end of Q2. As with, I'm sure you're seeing Nokia and Juniper, we're working on lead times. We're getting some pretty good dates on the 400 gig, but until we put the order in, we don't know. We'd expect to take delivery around the end of Q3, and then obviously move to implementation as soon as we can. So we hope to complete that project by the end of the year. but obviously I'll update at LINX117 as things progress. The main caveat there will be about availability of equipment that comes in and upgrades. But from a capacity point of view, we've got sufficient spare capacity to take us through to the end of the year. This is all about building for the years to come. So on Manchester, just wanted to speak a little bit about Manchester, because obviously we're up here and we're 10 years, and it's been 10 years of growth. And certainly in the last 2 years, significant growth. And I've got some graphs coming up in a minute. And certainly from July 2021 to now, it's been fantastic. The number of networks that have joined, the amount of traffic that's being exchanged locally here up in the north of England is fantastic. So LINX is always striving to do our regional strategy was to keep traffic local in this part of the country. We are working with Equinix, as I say, on the expansion to MA5, which I think is out past Salford, which is a fair old stretch, but I'll show you a connectivity diagram on that. We're signing contracts now around space and dark fibre. We expect the build from the Equinix site to be about 4 to 6 weeks. So that puts us around about the July time for us to build out the LINX network, so extend the Manchester network out to that particular location. So given holidays and availability of equipment and engineers, we'll probably go live around the August time this year, which would be great. Another site added for Manchester. So yeah, on the traffic, I just wanted to show. I mean, this obviously these slides will be made available. So if it's not too clear here, you'll get access to the slides. I mean, you can see this is back at the beginning of 2020, which was before COVID. When we went into lockdown, and actually the period around COVID, we didn't see a huge amount of growth because of that. Because of that dynamic of shifting to work from home. We did see that more in London, but less so in Manchester. It's actually been since around July 2021, which I put this little line on the graph ready to show you that the traffic, and this is daily average, so the actual peak is a lot higher than this. This has got some smoothing on it. But you can really see since July there's been a significant uptick in traffic as we've gone through that last year. What that looks like as far as peak traffic, we are now peaking over 260 gig on this network. So this is the May statistics from May, just over the last 4 weeks. And I think Curtis mentioned about our overall peak traffic was due to the football, but we do see the 260 peak traffic come up last week, and we did on the week of the 3rd of May, which, so those who are following the football, you would remember the 3rd of May was the first semi-final. But actually, Manchester wasn't. The peak was more due to the working day. So Manchester traffic profile looks a little bit like this. So this is zoomed in on the 3rd of May. This is the bank holiday weekend. So you can see as you run through, that's actually the Sunday and the Monday of the bank holiday weekend. You can actually see the 260 gig peak is when people went back to work and schools and universities and that open up again, which was the start of the day. So this is early in the morning. We do see some traffic come up later in the day. So this is the Liverpool semi-final on the Tuesday and the Manchester City semi-final on the Wednesday. I think there's about a 60 gig difference, so that's 60 gig of traffic that's really specific to that sporting event going ahead in that time. But as Curtis mentioned, if you look at the equivalent in London 1, this is the London 1 graph for that same period. You can see that the Liverpool and the Manchester City graph, the sporting event, you can see peak there, and that's what Curtis mentioned earlier, which is where we saw the peak of the traffic. So slightly different profile for Manchester, so I thought it was quite interesting to pull that out. But 260 gig of peak traffic, which is fantastic. So what of MA5? So this is, as I say, over by Salford. So it's a little bit of a stretch on the metro, but this now will build out. It's a standard build for us. We're going to be putting in a leaf and spine architecture. We'll be deploying the edge core equipment down to site. The green device there is the 110 gig, but we'll obviously be running at 10 gig capability, and then we'll have another edge device that runs at 100 gig. And as we test and approve any 400 gig, they can actually just plug in as a leaf device as well. What that looks like for Manchester as a whole, well, we're now up to 5 sites. The acronyms there are LINX acronyms, so they're what was the old Telecity acronyms, but it's Williams and Jules that connect into MA5, and the dark fibre will route from those 2 Equinix sites up to the MA5 site. There's also going to be a build, MA6 is being built later in the year, and obviously that sits behind MA5, and as soon as that comes online, we'll also have the ability to connect into that site because of the local fibre infrastructure that Equinix will provide. And then we come back and we're into Teledata what was the M247 data centre as well, and that makes up the Manchester campus. So continued growth with Manchester, continued expansion. We've I think I mentioned at the last LINX event, we've now got the edge core platform on our automation engines. So everything that's done from a deployment point of view on member connectivity is done through our network automation system. So it's all fully automated as well. So I'd like to then just go on to proof of concepts. We're running through 3 main proof of concepts in the next 3-4 months. The first one is on the Nokia 7000, the 7220. It's a D2 and D3 device. So these are kind of equivalent. These are the merchant silicon, top of rack, leaf and spine type devices, and these would be alternatives to the edge core. So one will run at 10 gig, one will run at 100 gig with 400 gig upgrade capability. This isn't to replace the edge core, but this is an alternative for the edge core devices in some geographies, and this is going through proof of concept, and if we can prove that out, we'll obviously look at that, how which geographies it best fits for us. We will also test, not in this coming 3-4 months, but we will also test the edge core devices. There are next generation edge core devices, so for anyone that's also buying that type of kit, you'll know that over the next 2-3 years, they'll be phasing out the devices that LINX have got deployed in the network at the moment, but we'll be bringing in the next generation ones as they go through proof of concept, including 400 gig. So that's when we'll release 400 gig for Manchester as well as on London too. But yeah, we're going through Nokia, and I think on Neil's point to Job earlier, the 7220s aren't supporting SNMP, so we're testing them with other streaming telemetry type services for monitoring. Which is one of the reasons why they're in proof of concept. We're also going to go through the smart optics, the 400 gig. Unfortunately, a bit of a long lead time on this, so we were hoping to be doing the proof of concept now, but that's going to be the end of this quarter or the next 2 months. This would just be able to give us, we're already obviously providing 400 gig at the edge to the member connectivity. This will also give us the ability to upgrade into switch links from n times 100 to 400, or probably n times 400. Actually, we'll probably go from 12 100s to 3 400s on the core links. And finally, as I mentioned, on the 400 gig area, the Juniper LC9600 finds its way into our lab, and all being well, we'll test that and approve that one to go into production. It gives us the option, obviously, across the London Metro. We've got 11 or 12 data centres now that we connect in. We've got a number of Nokias deployed, a number of Juniper Edge devices deployed, and it gives us the ability to pick and choose where best to put the equipment to meet the demand. I just wanted to give you an update on the cloud compute. I think last time I gave a presentation at 115 and said we were doing this. There was some feedback, and I thought it'd be worthwhile just to give an update where we are. We're still this is around refreshing our operational support systems. So a lot of our computers coming end of life. A lot of our storage is becoming end of life and reaching its capacity. So we're doing a complete refit. And what we thought was, we probably need to look at, what's the public-private cloud type setup that we want for the years to come. So we're still in the evaluation phase. We're still going through that. We took the opportunity to look and say, well, look, whatever we do, we need to probably rethink our firewall architecture. We need to modernize our monitoring and observability setup, look at the interconnection design, and then work out what are the applications and services that we feel comfortable moving to a public cloud, and what are those ones that we feel that we need to keep with our own private infrastructure on premise. Now, a lot of that actually comes down to something that we've mentioned, I think Malcolm's mentioned, I've mentioned, which is the telecom security requirements. So we're going through, hopefully, the final phase of that. There's been a consultation phase on how they're going to be implemented, and we've given feedback, as I'm sure many of you have given feedback on those TSRs. And we are waiting to see what the results are for that. So that comes down to how LINX is classified. So there's a terminology around tiering, how we are seen as a third-party supplier, what items of our infrastructure are seen as security critical functions, and those items that are seen as network oversight functions. And depending on how that feedback comes back, we'll then feed that into our decision on what we can, can't, or would like to choose to move between different environments. So we're hoping that that's going to be end of June, maybe beginning of July, but we'll see. We'll see on how quickly that comes back. So that's an update on that. I'm going to now jump into root servers. I think just to echo Job's point, it's been great working on the RSS Foundation, the Root Server Support Foundation, the RSSF. Working with the other internet exchanges, we've certainly over the last couple of years seen much more progress than the preceding 2 years, and we're all very pleased with the progress. So thank you to Job and the team working on that. So it's fantastic. We are moving to go live, as you saw that on the Root Server Foundation. We are going to go to Scotland and Wales. We've set the dates, the 20th and 23rd of June. The main thing for why, and I think Job touched on this, is we didn't want to just put the root server out there without it being equal to what we had on Bird. So in February, we had the user acceptance testing for our automation. So we use an in-house automation set of tools for deploying root server configuration to the Bird root servers. We also have a very good looking glass with the Alice project, and we support that. And we asked and we worked with the developer from Alice to get that ported across to also support the OpenBGPD. So that's now been working, and we've tested that. Mo has led on testing that. If you've got any questions on the root server or the looking glass, Mo's going to be here over the next couple of days from LINX, and feel free to have a chat to him on that. And what that means then is that when we do go live in June, you're going to get all the same functionality, experience, and feel as you would do for the Bird. And I think that's really important, that we give you a root server that has that same capability. So we could probably have deployed the root server slightly earlier, but it was something that we wanted to put all together into the package for release. So fingers crossed on that. Well, fingers crossed. I know from the lab testing that everything's looking good. It's just the last little bit of operational work that we need to do with the actual servers out at site. But all's looking very, very good for that. So thank you, and thank you again to Job for the great work they've done on that. But with the root servers, it isn't just stops there. So what we're also, we set out for this diversification strategy so that we could get an alternate to Bird, and it's not that we don't like Bird. I mean, Bird it's a fantastic root server, and it's done great work for us. For those that have been with LINX for a number of years, you'll probably remember we had Quagga running. So we had an instance of Bird, an instance of Quagga running for many years, but Quagga just wasn't getting developed, and there was no real mechanism for us to be able to get that development going. And especially when RPKI came out and some additional functionality came out, Quagga just fell behind. And so we, somewhat at the time, reluctantly moved to a Bird and Bird, so live Bird with a backup. But since then, and as I say, last couple of years, we've been working on OpenBGPD to try and get us back to the situation where we can deploy two different root servers. Once we're happy with OpenBGPD in the operational sense, we're then going to go and evaluate and hopefully upgrade to Bird 2. So we're running Bird 1.64 at the moment. So we'll upgrade to Bird 2. Mo and the team, they want to do a bit of rework on the configurations because they've grown rather organically over the years. So there's going to be a whole lot of work on optimizing the configuration. And then, as Job said, once we're happy with OpenBGPD at Scotland and Wales, the next target, as we test and we prove scalability, we'll then target Nova and Manchester because they've obviously got more peers. And then at some point, I'm not quite sure when, but we'll tackle London 2 and London 1. So hopefully not too far, but I'm not going to set any dates for that just yet. So really positive on the root server program, and we'll keep everybody updated on that as well. Obviously, if we go live, when we go live in June, we'll put an update out through the normal sort of social channels and let everybody know how that's going. So the other key thing that we're working on, and again in collaboration, so the root server foundation was with NetNod, AMSIX, and DKIX. The other area that we've been working on over the last few years is IX API, which we've been sponsoring or been driving with DKIX and AMSIX, and certainly we've seen a lot of progress over the last couple of years on that as well. We've just released version 2, so this has been, the software team have been working through this for the last 6 months, making sure all of our internal systems can support this. And I'll speak a little bit about our product portfolio tomorrow on behalf of Mike. But the idea here is that version 2 brings the IX API up to the sort of standard of functionality as what we have on the LINX portal as well. So if you're interested in finding out more about the IX API, you can go to the website. I'll put that on the link there. There's also documentation around version 2 for LINX's implementation for this, so how we've implemented this. And all of the work that we've put in place at the moment ties into our automation tooling. So everything that comes through externally into the IX API is then driven through our automation tooling so that there's instant access to services. And the services that we provide, you can consume the LINX API to query what services are available, what lands. You can update and manage accounts. If you're a connections partner, you can manage sub-customers. You can order peering services, which includes automating the configuration for the root server and root collector. Point-to-point VLANs, we call them private VLANs, the multi-point version, which is closed user group. And the IX API has it already, but we'll be implementing the ability to then consume cloud connection services as well through the API. So it's come a long way since when we released version 1, and so really pleased again that we've reached that milestone to release version 2, and we're just doing some final testings with one of our partners. But it's an open API, it's all documented, so if there's anybody that wants to have a look at that and start working towards building any interfaces into it from your systems, we would love to hear from you. Version 3 now is underway. We did a member engagement session late 2021. Unfortunately, it was virtual because of the COVID situation. But we had a number of members and customers of DKIX come into a wider discussion around what we should deliver in version 3. And a lot of the feedback at that member engagement session was around statistics and network health and gathering information about the peering status. So that information being gathered, we've got a planning event planned for June, so just in about 3-4 weeks' time. We're going to get the 3 internet exchanges, AM6, DKIX, LINX together to work through exactly what will be put into the specification. We then expect around the July-August time to have that specification sandbox reference model available, and then LINX will work on our internal implementation probably towards the end of the year to add those services in. And obviously one of the key things is as we add more functionalities to try and get it used more widely in the community. So since launched by LINX and AM6 and DKIX a couple of years ago now, we've got 10 partners across the 3 IXs that are using it, and we see 5 other internet exchange points starting to implement the IX API into their systems as well. I think one of the big reasons why it's taken a little bit of time for the IXs to pick this up and work with it, a lot of what a lot of the IXs are realizing as they consume the IX API as an external driver for peering services, there's a whole piece of work around the automation and workflow into their business systems and operational systems that, with legacy implementations of some of these services, is taking quite a lot of complexity to solve. And so I think it, with 5 internet exchanges, I say I spoke to most of them last week. With the 5 internet exchanges I know around the world that are working towards this, they're all struggling a little bit with that workflow side of things, but it is coming along. And I think by the end of the year, we're going to have at least 2, maybe 3 other IXs that are fully implemented the IX API end to end. We are looking and we're going to see how we can document some of the ways that LINX have developed our internal system so that we can publish that open source so that other internet exchanges can learn from that and maybe benefit from that and work out how they can also adopt the model. And the other area is that we know within the community, and we just started to give sponsorship to this as well. So Peering Manager, which is an open tool that can be used. The developer for that is also adding in some work to make that interface with IX API as well. So if you're familiar with Peering Manager, or if you want to use that for your business, there is work in progress to get Peering Manager also compatible with IX API. So a lot of work in progress with IX API, a lot more to come. I think certainly from members that connect to 1 or more IXs across Europe, the statistics I think will be very interesting. So I will keep you updated on that, and we're going to put a lot more information on the IX API website as we develop that as well to try and share where we're going with that. That's it. I know there's a lot of information. If there's anything in there that you want to speak about IX API, the root servers, or the 400 gig stuff, I'm going to be around for the next couple of days myself and at the social tonight. So please do come and speak to us. If you've got any queries on the root servers, Mo's around as well, and hopefully Yob will be around for a few hours as well. So do come and speak to us. But thank you for your time. And any questions?
Any questions for Richard? No?
No.
Oh. Thanks, Richard. Just going back to your original slides on Manchester, I was just curious about I couldn't really see the figures given the distance involved, so it was hard to see what's changed. But do you have any feeling what's been behind the change over the last year in traffic growth? Have you added particular new members or port speeds, or can you put your fingers on it?
Well, not really. There hasn't been one specific thing. I did look at it. There's been some. a number of 100 gig port upgrades. There's been some new networks join. I think, as Curtis said, we're always keen. It's interesting to see when people join a regional LAN where they're not necessarily, joining in London 1 and then going somewhere else. And so we have seen more networks join, a few 100 gig upgrades. I think it's just been a combination of the new working dynamic, where when the universities come back in September 2021. 100 gig upgrades and new networks joining. So no one thing that sticks out. It's been a bit of a combination of everything. So yeah. But thank you. Okay, thank you very much.
Okay, thank you, Richard.